Let go or be dragged. The necessity of letting go. Have you ever found yourself caught in the endless struggle to control every aspect of your life? You plan every detail, trying to make sure everything falls perfectly into place. Yet, no matter how hard you try to manage every outcome, you can't seem to hold on to anything for long. Things slip away just as quickly as you grasp them. This constant tug-of-war between control and chaos can leave you feeling exhausted, frustrated, and disconnected from the present moment. This desire to control is a natural human instinct. After all, if you can manage everything, surely you can avoid pain and discomfort, right? But the truth is, life doesn't bend to our will. It flows in its own unpredictable way, bringing challenges, setbacks, and unforeseen twists that we cannot prepare for. It's in these moments of unpredictability where we discover our greatest lessons, not through our attempts to control, but through our willingness to release, to surrender, and to trust the process. We often think that if we hold on tightly enough, we can shape our world into something predictable, something that feels safe. But what if the key to finding peace lies not in controlling, but in letting go? The ancient wisdom of Buddhism offers us the profound statement, "You only lose what you cling to." In that simple sentence lies a powerful truth. The more tightly we cling to the things we cannot control, the more we set ourselves up for suffering. Letting go is not about abandoning our dreams or becoming passive in life. It is about releasing the grip on our expectations and accepting that life will unfold as it is meant to, with or without our constant intervention. When we try to control the uncontrollable, we find ourselves trapped in a never-ending cycle of stress and frustration. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means stepping back and allowing the flow of life to carry us, rather than trying to swim upstream. Why control is the enemy of peace? How many times have you found yourself obsessing over every detail of a situation, thinking that if you just manage it perfectly, everything will turn out fine? Whether it's controlling how people perceive you, micromanaging tasks at work, or even trying to predict every twist and turn of your future, we often believe that control is the key to happiness. But in reality, the pursuit of control can actually rob us of peace. Control is an illusion. The more we try to grip tightly to the things around us, the more we lose our sense of calm. Think about it. If you try to control a river by grabbing hold of the water, it only slips through your fingers. The river flows regardless of your efforts. Similarly, life moves on with or without your control. And the more you try to force it to bend to your will, the more you experience frustration and disillusionment. Buddhism teaches us a powerful lesson in acceptance. The truth is, there is very little in life that we can control. We can't control other people, we can't control every outcome, and we can't predict the future. But we can control how we respond to the things that happen to us. The real power lies not in trying to control the uncontrollable, but in accepting it as part of the experience. When we embrace the truth that life will unfold with or without our plans, we can let go of the need to micromanage every moment. This acceptance brings peace. Instead of fighting against the natural flow of life, we begin to work with it, navigating through the ups and downs with a sense of calm and purpose. The more you let go of the need to control, the more peace you will find. The practice of letting go. Letting go is not an easy practice, especially in a world that values control, certainty, and predictability. We are conditioned to believe that if we work hard enough and control enough, we will be able to avoid pain and suffering. But the reality is that the more we try to control, the more we invite stress, anxiety, and exhaustion into our lives. So, how do we begin the practice of letting go? The first step is to recognize what we are holding on to. Often, we cling to expectations, desires, past experiences, or relationships that no longer serve us. These attachments create suffering because we base our happiness on things that are outside of our control. The key to letting go is to stop defining our happiness based on external circumstances. Take a moment to ask yourself, What am I holding on to that's weighing me down? What are the expectations, beliefs, or fears that I cling to? Whether it's a relationship that no longer brings joy, a past mistake that still haunts you, or an idealized vision of the future, these attachments are holding you back from living fully in the present. They create a mental and emotional burden that prevents you from experiencing peace. The practice of letting go involves more than just releasing physical possessions. It is about letting go of the emotional and mental attachments that keep us stuck. It's about realizing that our happiness does not depend on the outcome of a particular situation. When you can let go of the need to control, you free yourself to experience the beauty and peace of the present moment. The story of letting go, one of the most famous stories illustrating the power of letting go, is the story of the farmer and his horse. One day, the farmer's prized horse ran away. The neighbors came to offer their sympathy, saying, "Oh, how unfortunate, you've lost your horse." The farmer simply replied, "Who's to say what's good or bad?" A few days later, the horse returned, bringing with it a wild stallion. The neighbors came over again, saying, "How lucky you are, now you have 2 horses." The farmer replied, "Who's to say what's good or bad?" Later, the farmer's son tried to tame the wild stallion but was thrown off and broke his leg. The neighbors, ever eager to comment, said, "How unlucky you are, your son is hurt." The farmer, once again, simply said, "Who's to say what's good or bad?" A few weeks later, the country went to war, and all able-bodied young men were drafted into the army. The farmer's son, with his broken leg, was exempt from service. The neighbors came and said, "How fortunate that your son wasn't sent off to war." The farmer once again replied, "Who's to say what's good or bad?" This simple story reminds us that we can't always see the full picture of what's happening in our lives. What seems like a misfortune today may be a blessing tomorrow. The key to peace is not trying to control every outcome, but rather letting life unfold naturally, trusting that it will lead you where you need to go. Sometimes, it's only by letting go of our need to control that we find the path to our greatest growth and happiness. Letting go of fear and attachment. The power of letting go is not just about letting go of things, but also of the fear and attachment that hold us back from embracing life fully. Fear keeps us clinging to the past or the future, and attachment keeps us stuck in expectations and limiting beliefs. Together, they create a mental prison that traps us in a cycle of anxiety, doubt, and worry. When we let go of fear, we open ourselves up to the possibilities of the present. We stop worrying about what might happen or what has happened, and instead embrace the beauty of the here and now. When we let go of attachment, we stop holding on to our identities, our achievements, and our failures, allowing ourselves to be free to grow and evolve without being tied to a specific outcome. Observation without absorption, the wisdom of detachment. There's a powerful concept in Zen Buddhism that teaches us to observe without absorbing. In a world where emotions, opinions, and external forces bombard us at every turn, it's easy to become overwhelmed. We feel every insult deeply, every failure acutely, every injustice as if it were our own personal tragedy. But what if you could learn to observe these emotions without being consumed by them? This is the essence of mindfulness, becoming the observer of your thoughts and feelings without letting them define you. When we become too absorbed in our emotions, we lose the ability to step back and see the bigger picture. We forget that we are not our thoughts, our emotions, or our circumstances. We are the awareness that observes them. Imagine that your mind is like the sky. Thoughts and emotions are like clouds that pass through. Some are dark and stormy, others are light and fluffy. But no matter how intense the clouds are, the sky remains vast and unchanging. It holds space for everything without becoming overwhelmed by any single cloud. This is the practice of observation without absorption, to notice your thoughts and feelings without becoming entangled in them. The art of detachment is not about ignoring or suppressing your emotions. It's about accepting them, acknowledging them, and then letting them pass. When you observe without absorbing, you create space between yourself and your emotions. You no longer identify with your feelings, and they lose their power over you. The power of awareness. When you cultivate this ability to observe without absorbing, you gain greater control over how you respond to life's challenges. Instead of reacting impulsively to a difficult situation, you create a moment of pause, a space between stimulus and reaction. In that space, you have the opportunity to choose how to respond, rather than simply reacting out of habit or emotion. This shift in perspective is transformative. It allows you to approach life's challenges with a sense of calm, clarity, and wisdom. You stop being swept up by every wave of emotion and instead learn to surf them, riding the highs and lows of life with grace and equanimity. You become like the sky, vast, open, and unaffected by the passing storms. The practice of observing without absorbing helps you cultivate a sense of inner peace. You begin to experience the world without becoming overwhelmed by it. This doesn't mean you become cold or indifferent to life's challenges. On the contrary, you become more attuned to the present moment, more mindful of your surroundings, and more compassionate toward yourself and others. Care deeply, but not widely. The paradox of caring. In the world we live in, we are often pulled in many directions. Social media, the news, work, family, friends, and 1,000 other things demand our attention. We are constantly reminded of the importance of being compassionate, of caring for others, of showing up, and of being the person everyone can rely on. In this constant whirlwind, it's easy to lose sight of one crucial truth. You cannot pour from an empty cup. How often do you find yourself trying to care about everything at once? You want to help everyone, support every cause, and be there for every person who needs you. You stretch yourself thin, trying to be everything to everyone, but somewhere along the way, you start to feel depleted, exhausted, and burned out. The paradox is this: the more widely we care, the less deeply we can care. When you try to be everything to everyone, you give little pieces of yourself to each thing. But when you do this over time, those little pieces add up, and soon there is nothing left for you. You can't sustain that level of care without exhausting yourself. True compassion, therefore, lies not in caring about everything, but in caring deeply for the things and people that truly matter. Buddhism teaches us a key principle: to care deeply, but not widely. The idea isn't to stop caring about others or to close yourself off from the world. Instead, it's about cultivating discernment in how you direct your energy. Compassion is not about constantly giving, but about knowing where to focus your care so that you can maintain your own well-being. The importance of boundaries. The idea of caring deeply, but not widely, requires boundaries. Boundaries are often seen as barriers or walls, but in truth, they are the structures that protect our energy, our mental health, and our sense of self. Without boundaries, we end up giving more than we have to give, sacrificing our own happiness in the process. When we set boundaries, we are not being selfish, we are being wise. Healthy boundaries allow us to protect our peace while still being kind and compassionate to others. In a world that often pushes us to overextend ourselves, setting clear boundaries is a radical act of self-love. Consider the example of a candle. If you try to light every room in your house with one candle, it will eventually burn out. But if you focus that same light on one room, you can sustain the flame and share it for longer. The same goes for your energy. Focusing on a few key areas allows you to give more of yourself without burning out. This is not about withdrawing from the world. It's about being intentional with where you invest your energy. It's about knowing which relationships, projects, and causes are truly aligned with your values, and then focusing your energy on those. The wisdom of saying no. One of the most powerful skills you can develop in life is learning how to say no. It might sound simple, but for many of us, it is incredibly difficult. We are often conditioned to believe that saying no makes us bad people, or that we will disappoint others if we decline a request for help. But saying no isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. Saying no allows us to say yes to what truly matters. Every time you say yes to something that drains you or doesn't align with your values, you are saying no to something that could truly nourish your soul. When you say yes to something you don't want to do, you are saying no to your own well-being. The practice of saying no is not about being cold or unkind, it's about being honest. It's about acknowledging that you are only human and you cannot possibly do everything. By saying no to the things that don't serve you, you create space for the things that truly matter. The story of the monk and the river. There is a beautiful story about a monk who, after many years of practice, was asked by a visitor how he managed to stay so calm and unaffected by the chaos of the world. The monk smiled and pointed to a river flowing nearby. He said, "See how the river flows. It doesn't try to stop, slow down, or speed up. It simply follows its course. It's not bothered by the rocks or the obstacles in its way. It doesn't struggle, it just flows." The visitor was puzzled and asked, "But how can you be like the river? The world is full of problems, people who need your help, things that demand your attention. How do you stay so calm when there is so much to do?" The monk smiled again and replied, "I care deeply, but not widely. I know what is mine to carry, and I know what I can let go of. The river doesn't try to change the world, it simply moves with it, and that is how I find peace." This story beautifully illustrates the balance between caring deeply and not widely. The monk understands that he cannot be everything to everyone, but by focusing on what truly matters, he can provide the most meaningful care. The danger of overcommitting. One of the biggest dangers of trying to care about everything is the risk of overcommitting. We live in a culture that glorifies busyness and overextension. We are constantly told that we need to do more, be more, and give more, but overcommitting ourselves leads to exhaustion, resentment, and burnout. The truth is, we don't have to answer every call, attend every event, or engage in every conversation. We can choose where to invest our time and energy. We can choose the relationships that nourish us, the causes that align with our values, and the work that brings us fulfillment. When you commit to something, ask yourself if it truly adds value to your life and aligns with your purpose. If it doesn't, it's okay to say no. Your time, energy, and love are finite. Don't waste them on things that don't serve your highest good. Creating space for what matters. Creating space for what matters involves letting go of the things that drain you and making room for the things that truly bring joy, peace, and fulfillment. This could mean letting go of relationships that are no longer healthy, projects that are draining your energy, or obligations that don't align with your values. It could also mean setting aside time for self-care, rest, and reflection. When you care deeply, but not widely, you create the space necessary to truly nourish the relationships and experiences that are most meaningful to you. This allows you to be more present, more compassionate, and more effective in everything you do. The lesson of caring deeply, but not widely, is one of the most important lessons we can learn in a world that constantly demands more of us. By setting boundaries, saying no when necessary, and focusing our energy on what truly matters, we can find the balance between giving and preserving our own well-being. As you move through life, remember that it's not about doing everything, it's about doing the right things. Care deeply for those things that align with your purpose, and let go of the things that drain your energy. When you learn to focus your care, you can give more of yourself to the people and causes that truly matter, without burning out in the process. The freedom of non-attachment. The illusion of attachment. In the pursuit of happiness, it's easy to forget one fundamental truth. The things we cling to are often the things that cause us the most pain. We become attached to people, to ideas, to possessions, and even to our identities. We attach ourselves to expectations of how life should be, to the success we think we deserve, and to the relationships we believe are essential for our well-being. But in doing so, we create a world of attachment that ties us down and prevents us from experiencing the freedom and peace we truly desire. Attachment is like a heavy weight, an anchor that drags us down. We might not always realize it, but our attachment to things, situations, and even people creates a constant sense of unease and insecurity. We become so tied to these external forces that our happiness becomes dependent on them. This attachment is not rooted in love or genuine care, but in a fear of loss, in the desire to possess and control. But what if true peace lies not in holding on, but in letting go? What if the more we try to possess, the less we actually have? This is the paradox of attachment. It promises security, but it only leads to suffering. The more we attach ourselves to something, the more we fear losing it, and this fear is what ultimately traps us. The nature of non-attachment. Non-attachment is often misunderstood. Many people believe that non-attachment means indifference, that it's about becoming cold, detached, or emotionally distant. But this is far from the truth. Non-attachment is not about shutting down or withdrawing from life. It's about living fully without clinging to outcomes. It's about embracing life as it is, without the need to control or possess it. Think about a tree. The tree grows, reaches for the sky, and experiences the changing seasons. It doesn't try to hold on to every leaf that falls, nor does it resist the wind that blows through it. The tree simply exists, rooted in the present moment, fully participating in life without attachment. This is the essence of non-attachment: to be present, to experience life deeply, but without the need to hold on to any particular moment or outcome. Non-attachment doesn't mean not caring. It doesn't mean detaching from relationships or not setting goals. It means freeing ourselves from the need to control, from the expectation that things will go according to our plans. It means letting go of the fear of loss and the anxiety that comes with it. It's the freedom to love deeply without needing to possess, to pursue your dreams without tying your identity to the outcome, and to enjoy life without constantly fearing what will be lost. Attachment to identity and the self. One of the most powerful forms of attachment is the attachment to our identity, who we think we are, who we believe we should be, and how we define ourselves. We hold on tightly to the roles we play in society. We are a parent, a friend, a worker, a student, a partner. We attach our sense of worth to these roles, believing that our value comes from what we do, what we have, and how others perceive us. But this attachment to our identity can be a prison. It confines us to a narrow view of who we are, limiting our ability to grow and evolve. We cling to a version of ourselves that may no longer fit our current reality. We become afraid to change, to embrace new aspects of ourselves, because we believe that doing so would mean losing who we are. The truth is, you are not your role, your job, your past mistakes, or your successes. You are not defined by external factors. When we let go of the need to define ourselves by these labels, we open up to the possibility of becoming who we are truly meant to be, free from the constraints of attachment. Non-attachment allows us to grow beyond the confines of the past, to release old identities and embrace new possibilities. The fear of loss and the paradox of clinging. Have you ever noticed how the things we most fear losing are often the things we cling to the hardest? It's almost as if, in our attempts to protect them, we make ourselves more vulnerable. We fear the loss of our relationships, our possessions, our health, our achievements, and in our fear of losing them, we tighten our grip, creating more anxiety and stress. This fear of loss is deeply ingrained in us. We are taught to hold on to things because we believe they are what give us security. But the paradox is that the tighter we hold on, the more we increase our vulnerability. We are afraid of losing what we have, yet by clinging to it, we create a greater sense of insecurity. The fear of loss itself becomes the source of our suffering. In Buddhism, attachment is seen as the root of all suffering. It's not the thing we hold on to that causes the pain, it's our attachment to it. When we release our attachment to the idea of ownership, control, or permanence, we free ourselves from the fear of loss. We can experience the beauty of life as it is, without constantly worrying about what might slip away. The liberation of letting go. Imagine for a moment that you are holding a burning coal in your hand. The longer you hold it, the more it burns. But as soon as you let go, the pain stops. This is how attachment works in our lives. The longer we hold on to something, whether it's a past hurt, a limiting belief, or an expectation, the more it causes us pain. But as soon as we release it, we free ourselves from that suffering. Non-attachment is a form of liberation. It is the freedom to experience life fully, without the constant fear of losing something. It is the ability to be present with what is, without worrying about what might be. When we let go of the need to control and possess, we open ourselves to a deeper, more profound connection with life. The art of surrender. Surrendering is often seen as a weakness or a form of defeat, but in reality, surrender is an act of great strength and wisdom. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of the need to control. It means trusting that life will unfold as it is meant to, even if it doesn't fit our expectations. The act of surrender is not passive. It is an active choice to release the need for control and to trust in the wisdom of the universe. It is the courage to face the unknown with an open heart, knowing that everything will unfold in perfect timing. By surrendering to life, we are not giving up. We are allowing ourselves to be fully present in the moment, without resistance or fear. The practice of non-attachment in everyday life. How can we practice non-attachment in our daily lives? It starts with becoming aware of the things we cling to. Are you attached to your job, your success, your relationships, or your possessions? Are you afraid of losing these things? The first step is to recognize where attachment exists in your life and how it affects you. Once you have identified where attachment lies, the next step is to practice letting go. You don't have to let go of everything all at once, but you can start by releasing the things that cause you the most stress. This might mean loosening your grip on the need for perfection, letting go of unrealistic expectations, or releasing the fear of failure. Another key aspect of practicing non-attachment is learning to embrace uncertainty. Life is full of unknowns, and trying to control every outcome can lead to anxiety. Instead, learn to sit with the unknown, to trust that the path will unfold as it is meant to. Embrace the idea that everything in life is temporary and that nothing is truly yours to possess. By letting go of your attachment to permanence, you free yourself to live fully in the present moment. Living with non-attachment. Living with non-attachment means you no longer define your happiness by external circumstances. You find peace in simply being, without needing to attach yourself to anything. You live life fully, without fear of loss, because you know that everything is fleeting and impermanent. You experience relationships, experiences, and achievements deeply, but you don't let them define who you are or your happiness. You find joy in the process, not in the outcome. As you practice non-attachment, you will begin to feel a sense of liberation. You will feel lighter, freer, and more connected to the world around you. You will no longer be burdened by the weight of expectations or the fear of loss. Instead, you will be able to flow with life's ups and downs, trusting that everything will unfold as it is meant to. Respond, don't react. The space between stimulus and response. In the hustle and bustle of modern life, we are constantly bombarded with stimuli, people's words, unexpected events, the pressures of work, family, and everything in between. In the midst of all this, there's a subtle yet crucial moment that determines the quality of our lives. It's the moment between stimulus and response. Every time something happens to us, whether it's a person who cuts us off in traffic, a comment that offends us, or an unexpected setback, we face a choice, to react or to respond. Most of the time, we react instinctively. We lash out, we get defensive, we allow our emotions to take control. But in doing so, we lose our sense of power. We become victims of our emotions and the world around us. But what if we could choose differently? What if, in that small space between stimulus and response, we had the ability to pause, take a breath, and make a conscious decision about how to respond? What if we could choose peace over panic, clarity over confusion, and wisdom over impulse? This is the essence of mindfulness, becoming aware of the space between stimulus and response, and using that awareness to make intentional, thoughtful choices. Mindful response is the practice of stepping out of the autopilot mode of reactive living and instead responding with presence, clarity, and wisdom. The difference between reaction and response. Reactivity is impulsive. It comes from a place of emotional triggers, fear, or ingrained patterns. When we react, we often feel like we're at the mercy of our emotions. We might say things we don't mean, make decisions we later regret, or let our anger or frustration dictate our behavior. In contrast, a response is deliberate. It comes from a place of inner calm and conscious thought. When we respond, we take a step back, reflect on the situation, and choose how we want to engage with it. A response is an action grounded in our values, goals, and mindfulness. One key to distinguishing between reaction and response is to ask yourself, am I acting out of fear, stress, or habit, or am I choosing a response that aligns with my true self? When you react, you're letting external events control you. When you respond, you're taking ownership of your emotions and choosing how you want to engage with the world. The power of the pause. The pause between stimulus and response is a powerful tool. In that pause, there is an opportunity for awareness and choice. But to access this pause, we must cultivate mindfulness. We must train ourselves to notice when we are triggered, to become aware of our emotional responses, and to create space between the stimulus and our reaction. For example, the next time someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of reacting with anger and frustration, pause for a moment, take a deep breath. In that brief pause, ask yourself, how do I want to respond? You might choose to let go of the irritation and move on, realizing that the other driver's actions are not worth your energy. Or you might choose to focus on staying calm and maintaining your inner peace, no matter the external circumstances. This is the power of the pause. It allows you to reclaim your inner peace. When you take that moment of awareness, you step into your power. You stop being a victim of your emotions and instead become the master of your response. The role of awareness in mindful response. Mindful response requires a high level of self-awareness. It's easy to fall into reactive patterns because they are often automatic. Our brains are wired to react to danger, to stress, and to stimuli quickly in an effort to protect us. But while this fight or flight response may serve us in moments of actual danger, it's not always helpful in the day-to-day challenges we face. The key is to cultivate awareness, the ability to observe your thoughts, emotions, and impulses without identifying with them. Awareness allows you to see your reactions for what they are, temporary, fleeting responses to external events. Once you realize that your reactions don't define you, you can begin to create space between what happens and how you choose to engage with it. For instance, if someone insults you, your first instinct might be to retaliate, but with awareness, you can recognize this impulse and take a moment to reflect. Do you really want to engage in a fight? Will responding with anger bring you peace? In that moment of awareness, you might realize that the other person's words have little power over your happiness, and you can choose to respond with kindness or simply walk away. The impact of responding mindfully. Mindful responses have the power to transform your relationships, your work, and your overall sense of well-being. By choosing to respond thoughtfully, you create a ripple effect of calm and clarity in your life. When you respond, instead of react, you reduce conflict. You create more understanding and connection because your responses are rooted in presence and empathy rather than defensiveness or anger. You learn to meet the world with a sense of peace rather than being dragged along by the whims of your emotions. Mindful responses also allow you to manage your stress more effectively. Instead of getting caught in the cycle of stress, overwhelm, and burnout, you can pause, reflect, and choose how to engage with each challenge in a way that aligns with your values. You stop giving away your power to external events and instead choose to act in ways that serve your highest good. A story of response over reaction. There's a story of a Zen master who was once confronted by an angry student. The student was furious about something that had happened, and he stormed into the Zen master's room, shouting and throwing accusations. Instead of reacting with anger or defensiveness, the Zen master simply sat calmly, observing the student. He didn't interrupt or try to correct him. After several minutes, the student began to calm down, realizing that his anger was not getting the response he had hoped for. Finally, the Zen master spoke softly. "You have a choice. You can choose to let go of your anger, or you can hold on to it. The choice is always yours." This story illustrates the power of responding with calmness and presence. The Zen master didn't engage with the anger, didn't get caught up in the student's emotional turmoil. Instead, he created a space for the student to reflect on his own emotions and make a conscious choice about how to respond. The daily practice of responding mindfully. The practice of responding instead of reacting requires consistency. It's not something that happens overnight. But over time, as you cultivate mindfulness, you'll find that you naturally begin to respond more thoughtfully to life's challenges. Start by being mindful of small moments throughout your day. When you feel irritated, frustrated, or upset, pause. Take a deep breath. Step back and ask yourself, how do I want to respond? With practice, this pause will become second nature. It will give you the space to choose peace over conflict, clarity over confusion, and wisdom over impulse. As you continue to practice responding mindfully, you will find that your emotional reactions begin to lose their power over you. You will no longer be controlled by the whims of your emotions or the world around you. You will be able to navigate life with grace, composure, and inner peace. Living with calmness and clarity. When you choose to respond instead of react, you live a life of greater calmness and clarity. You free yourself from the chaos of impulsive reactions and begin to engage with the world from a place of presence. You become more grounded, more intentional, and more aligned with your true self. In every moment, you have the power to choose how you respond. By making mindful choices, you create a life that is filled with peace, understanding, and connection. You no longer feel like a victim of your emotions. You become the master of your responses, navigating life with clarity and wisdom. The power of being here, living in the moment. In our fast-paced, goal-oriented world, we are constantly told that happiness is something to be chased. We are encouraged to look forward to the future, to plan, to work, and to build the life we think we deserve. We often believe that once we achieve a certain goal, whether it's a career milestone, a material possession, or a perfect relationship, then, and only then, will we be truly happy. But what if I told you that peace, joy, and fulfillment are not somewhere in the future, but right here, right now? The truth is, we are always living in the present moment, whether we are aware of it or not. But so often, we are distracted by our thoughts of the past or our worries about the future. We replay old conversations, regret past decisions, or ruminate over what we could have done differently. At the same time, we anticipate the future, imagining what might happen and worrying about the what-ifs. As a result, we miss the only moment that truly exists, the present. Buddhism teaches us the power of mindfulness, the ability to bring our full attention to the present moment, to experience life as it is, without judgment or distraction. Mindfulness is about being here, fully engaged in what is happening right now, rather than being lost in the past or the future. The illusion of future happiness. We are conditioned to think that happiness is something we must work toward, something that lies ahead of us, just out of reach. We think that once we have achieved success, earned more money, or acquired the right possessions, we will finally be happy. But in doing so, we miss the very essence of life. Happiness is not a destination, but a practice. Consider how many times you have thought, "I'll be happy when I get that promotion, when I find my soulmate, when I travel to that perfect destination, when I buy that new house." These when statements create an illusion that happiness exists somewhere in the future, when in reality, The only time we can experience true happiness is right now, in the present. Living with the mindset that happiness is something to be achieved in the future keeps us trapped in a cycle of striving and never fully experiencing the peace and joy that is available to us now. Every moment that we spend focusing on what we don't have or what we wish we could change is a moment lost in the pursuit of a future that may never meet our expectations. The power of now. When we shift our focus to the present moment, we experience life more fully. We realize that the joy we seek isn't somewhere off in the future. It's here, in the small moments that make up our lives. Whether it's the warmth of the sun on your skin, the taste of your morning coffee, the sound of laughter shared with friends, or the simple pleasure of breathing, these moments are the essence of life. The power of now lies in embracing these small moments and allowing ourselves to fully experience them. In each moment, we have the opportunity to connect with our true selves, to appreciate what is, and to find contentment in the here and now. It is in the present that we can access our true peace, not in the pursuit of a future ideal. The present moment is all we have, and when we truly live in it, we free ourselves from the shackles of past regrets and future anxieties. The benefits of being present. Being present in the moment has numerous benefits for our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. When we are truly present, we are no longer consumed by worries or fears. Our minds are clear and our thoughts are focused. This sense of clarity leads to greater peace, calm, and balance. Research has shown that mindfulness, the practice of being fully present, can reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. It improves our ability to focus, enhances our emotional regulation, and boosts our overall sense of well-being. When we are mindful, we become more attuned to our feelings, thoughts, and physical sensations, which allows us to make more conscious decisions, respond more effectively to challenges, and cultivate a deeper sense of connection with others. In addition to its emotional benefits, being present also has a profound impact on our physical health. Chronic stress, which often stems from our tendency to focus on the past or future, can lead to a range of health issues, including high blood pressure, heart disease, and weakened immune function. By learning to live in the present, we reduce stress and promote overall health and vitality. The practice of presence. The practice of being present is simple, but not always easy. It requires awareness and intention. To be fully present, we must learn to bring our attention back to the here and now whenever we catch ourselves drifting into the past or future. This practice involves letting go of distractions, whether they are external, like technology, or internal, like worries or judgments, and focusing on the moment in front of us. One powerful way to cultivate presence is through mindful breathing. By bringing our awareness to our breath, we reconnect with the present moment. When we focus on our breath, we create a sense of stillness in the mind, which allows us to experience the present more fully. In times of stress or overwhelm, simply pausing and taking a few deep, mindful breaths can help ground us in the here and now. Another technique for cultivating presence is mindful observation. This involves bringing your full attention to whatever is in front of you. Whether it's the colors of the sky at sunset, the texture of a flower, or the sound of a loved one's voice, take a moment to truly observe and appreciate the details of the present moment. When we engage with the world through our senses, we open ourselves to the richness of life, letting go of the need for control. One of the biggest obstacles to being present is our attachment to control. We often try to control every aspect of our lives, how we look, what we do, and even how others perceive us. We make plans, set goals, and try to predict every outcome. But in doing so, we miss the beauty of the present moment. The truth is, life is unpredictable, and trying to control it only leads to frustration and disappointment. When we let go of the need to control, we create space for the present to unfold naturally. We release the need for certainty and embrace the unknown, knowing that the present moment is all we really have. When we stop trying to control every outcome, We free ourselves from the pressure of perfectionism and open ourselves up to the flow of life. We can experience each moment as it comes, without the weight of expectations or the fear of failure. This is the freedom that comes from living in the present, the ability to be, to experience, and to enjoy life without the need for constant control. The paradox of living fully. The paradox of living fully in the present is that, in doing so, we often find that we experience more joy, peace, and fulfillment in the long run. The more we let go of the future and embrace the present, the more we are able to manifest the things we truly desire. By focusing on the here and now, we align ourselves with the flow of life, and that alignment brings us closer to the outcomes we want. When we are fully present, we are more creative, more connected, and more aligned with our true selves. We make decisions that are in line with our values, and we respond to life's challenges with grace and clarity. Living in the present doesn't mean we abandon our goals or stop working toward the future. It simply means we live with intention and awareness in each moment, trusting that the future will unfold in its own time. Conclusion: embracing the present moment. The power of being here, in the present moment, is a practice that can transform every aspect of your life. When you let go of the past and future and focus your attention on the here and now, you unlock a sense of peace, joy, and freedom that can only be found in the present. Living in the present moment allows you to fully engage with life, to connect more deeply with others, and to experience the richness of existence without the burden of regret or anxiety. By embracing the present, you find that happiness and fulfillment are not destinations to be reached, but states of being to be lived. Remember, the only moment you truly have is now. So take a deep breath, let go of your worries, and embrace the present. It is in this moment that life unfolds, and it is in this moment that true peace resides. The art of letting go of what doesn't serve you. The power of release. Letting go is often one of the hardest things to do. In a world that encourages us to accumulate, whether it's material possessions, achievements, or relationships, we often find it difficult to release the things that no longer serve us. We cling to old habits, outdated beliefs, and toxic relationships because we fear the unknown, or because we feel that holding on will bring us some sense of security or identity. But in truth, holding on to what doesn't serve us only keeps us stuck. When we refuse to release what no longer aligns with our values, we are essentially carrying around unnecessary weight. This weight can be emotional, mental, or even physical, and it prevents us from fully stepping into who we are meant to be. The art of letting go is not just about getting rid of things. It's about creating space for the new, the better, and the more authentic version of ourselves. Letting go requires courage. It requires the willingness to face discomfort and uncertainty, but it also brings liberation. The act of letting go clears the path for growth, healing, and transformation. It's about shedding old layers and stepping into a new chapter of your life. Letting go is freedom, recognizing what no longer serves you. The first step in the art of letting go is recognizing what no longer serves you. Often, we are so caught up in the routines of daily life, the pressure to meet expectations, or the comfort of familiarity, that we fail to notice the things we are holding on to out of habit, fear, or obligation. To begin, take a moment to reflect on your life. What are you holding on to that is weighing you down? What are you holding on to because you feel you should, but deep down, you know it no longer brings you joy or peace? This might be a toxic relationship that drains your energy, a job that no longer fulfills you, a belief that limits your potential, or a past experience that continues to haunt you. These attachments are not necessarily bad, but they are keeping you anchored in the past, preventing you from moving forward. Start by acknowledging that holding on to these things is a choice. You may feel that they define you or that you need them, but in reality, they are holding you back from the life you are meant to lead. Awareness is the key. Once you recognize what no longer serves you, you can begin the process of release. The difficulty of letting go. Letting go is difficult for many reasons. For some, it's the fear of losing something or someone that has been a part of their lives for so long. For others, it's the fear of change, what happens when we release the old and step into the unknown. The discomfort of uncertainty often keeps us clinging to what's familiar, even if it's no longer healthy or helpful. But the reality is that the more we hold on to things that no longer serve us, the more we hinder our own growth. The pain of holding on is often far greater than the fear of letting go. And once we make the decision to release, we often find that the weight we've been carrying falls away, and we are free to move forward with greater ease and clarity. Think of it like cleaning out a cluttered room. The room might be filled with things you've accumulated over the years, some of which you don't even need or want anymore. The thought of going through everything and deciding what to keep might feel overwhelming, but once you begin, you'll find that clearing out the old makes space for the new. The room feels lighter, fresher, and more open. In the same way, letting go of what no longer serves you allows you to make room for new experiences, opportunities, and relationships that are more aligned with your true self. It might be uncomfortable at first, but the rewards are well worth it. The process of letting go. Letting go is a process, not an event. It's not something that happens overnight, and it's not something you can force, but there are steps you can take to begin the process of release. Awareness. The first step is to become aware of what you are holding on to. What in your life is weighing you down? What is keeping you stuck in the past? Start by acknowledging these things and recognizing that they are not serving you anymore. Acceptance. Once you have identified what you need to let go of, the next step is to accept that it's time for a change. This doesn't mean you have to completely let go of everything all at once. It's about accepting that what you've been holding on to no longer brings you peace or growth. Forgiveness. Letting go often requires forgiveness, whether it's forgiving someone else or forgiving yourself. Holding on to grudges, resentment, or guilt only keeps you anchored in the past. When you forgive, you release the emotional attachment to the situation or person, allowing yourself to move forward. Release. This is the most difficult step, but also the most powerful. Releasing means consciously letting go of the attachment, the fear, and the need to control. It's about trusting that you are capable of moving forward without the weight of what no longer serves you. This can be an emotional release, where you allow yourself to grieve what you are letting go of, or it can be a physical release, such as getting rid of things that are cluttering your space. Embrace the new. Once you've released what no longer serves you, open yourself to the new. This is where the magic happens. The act of letting go creates space for new opportunities, experiences, and relationships that are more aligned with your true self. You will find that once you've let go, the universe has a way of filling that space with what you need. The freedom of letting go. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you experience a profound sense of freedom. You free yourself from the weight of past regrets, from the fear of the unknown, and from the attachments that have been holding you back. You give yourself permission to live fully in the present, without the baggage of the past dragging you down. Letting go is also a form of self-love. By releasing what no longer serves you, you are choosing to prioritize your well-being, your growth, and your happiness. You are making space for the things that bring you joy, fulfillment, and peace. The freedom that comes from letting go is liberating. It's the freedom to be yourself, to explore new possibilities, and to embrace life without the weight of old attachments holding you back. When you let go, you step into your true power, the gift of the present moment. Ultimately, letting go is about embracing the present moment. The more we hold on to the past, the less we are able to experience the beauty of the here and now. Letting go is the gateway to the present. It frees us from the past and allows us to fully immerse ourselves in the richness of life as it unfolds. When we let go, we stop trying to control the future and instead allow life to happen as it is meant to. We stop clinging to what we think should be and begin to accept what is. The present moment is all we ever have, and when we let go of the past and future, we step into the fullness of the now. Letting go in relationships. Letting go in relationships can be one of the most challenging aspects of the process. We often form deep emotional attachments to people, whether it's family, friends, or romantic partners. But when a relationship no longer serves you, when it becomes toxic, one-sided, or unhealthy, it's important to let go. Letting go in relationships doesn't mean you stop loving the other person. It means you are choosing to love yourself enough to step away from something that is causing you harm. It might be difficult, and it might take time, but ultimately, you must prioritize your own well-being and growth. This might also mean letting go of expectations of others. We often hold on to unrealistic expectations about how others should behave or how relationships should unfold. When we let go of these expectations, we open ourselves to the possibility of deeper, more authentic connections. The art of letting go is not an easy practice, but it is one of the most powerful tools for growth, healing, and inner peace. By releasing what no longer serves us, whether it's past experiences, limiting beliefs, or unhealthy relationships, we create space for the new. We free ourselves from the weight of attachment and open ourselves to the possibilities of the present moment. Letting go is an act of courage, an act of self-love, and an act of freedom. The more we practice it, the more we step into our true power. So, take a deep breath, look at what you are holding on to, and ask yourself, what can I let go of today? The answer may surprise you, but in that release, you will find the space to become who you were always meant to be. The courage to live authentically, the mask we wear. In a world that constantly tells us how we should be, how we should look, and what we should achieve, it's easy to get lost in a role we were never meant to play. From a young age, we are taught to conform, to fit into the mold of what society expects of us. Whether it's through the clothes we wear, the career paths we choose, or the way we present ourselves to others, we often find ourselves wearing a mask to fit in, to be liked, or to be successful. This mask we wear is made up of expectations, both internal and external. It's a collection of beliefs, behaviors, and personas that we adopt to meet the perceived needs of others or to gain approval. But beneath the mask lies something much more authentic. The question is, who are you really when you take off the mask? Living authentically requires the courage to drop the mask and show up as your true self. It's about embracing the parts of you that are imperfect, messy, and raw. It's about being honest with yourself about who you are, what you want, and what truly matters to you. It's about letting go of the fear of judgment and embracing the freedom that comes with simply being yourself. The fear of rejection. One of the biggest obstacles to living authentically is the fear of rejection. We are social creatures, and from a survival standpoint, fitting in and being accepted is a deep-seated need. For many, the idea of being rejected or not accepted for who we truly are can feel terrifying. This fear leads us to play roles that don't align with our true selves. We pretend to be someone we're not, putting on a facade that others will accept. We silence our voice, hide our true thoughts, and suppress our authentic desires in an effort to fit into the expectations of those around us. But in doing so, we lose touch with our true selves, and the more we suppress, the more disconnected we become from our inner truth. However, rejection doesn't have to be a source of fear. The truth is, when we live authentically, we invite the right people and opportunities into our lives, people who will love us for who we truly are. And even if we face rejection, it's not a reflection of our worth. It's simply a part of life. Living authentically means being at peace with the fact that not everyone will understand or accept you, and that's okay. Living true to yourself. To live authentically means to honor your values, your desires, and your purpose. It's about living in alignment with what is most important to you, rather than what is expected of you. This requires a deep level of self-awareness and an understanding of what you truly want out of life, not what others want for you. Start by asking yourself, what is my truth? What are the things that light me up, that make me feel alive, that bring me peace and fulfillment? And on the flip side, what are the things that drain me, that cause me anxiety, or that leave me feeling empty inside? Living authentically is about aligning with the former and distancing yourself from the latter. Living authentically also means embracing your uniqueness, your quirks, and your individuality. It means accepting that you don't have to fit into any predefined box. You are not defined by your job title, your relationship status, or your accomplishments. You are defined by who you are at your core, your values, your passions, your essence. The courage to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is a key component of authenticity. To live authentically, you must be willing to expose the parts of yourself that are often hidden, the parts that are imperfect, raw, and real. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. It's the courage to show up as you are, without pretending to be someone you're not, without hiding behind a mask of perfection. When we embrace vulnerability, we allow ourselves to experience deeper connections with others. We invite others to see us for who we truly are, and in doing so, we invite love, compassion, and understanding. True connection comes from being open and real with others. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we create space for others to do the same. Vulnerability also allows us to embrace our imperfections. We don't have to have it all together. We don't have to be perfect to be loved or worthy. In fact, it's our imperfections that make us unique, and they are often the very things that connect us with others. When we stop trying to hide our flaws, we begin to experience the freedom of simply being human, breaking free from the expectations of others. One of the greatest barriers to living authentically is the weight of expectations. We are often conditioned by society, family, or peers to follow certain paths, to meet certain standards, or to behave in specific ways. We are told what success looks like, what love should be, and how we should spend our time. But the truth is, only you can define what success, happiness, and fulfillment mean for you. Living authentically requires the courage to break free from these external expectations and to forge your own path. It means defining success on your own terms, not based on what others think you should achieve. It means letting go of the need for approval from others and embracing the freedom to make decisions that align with your true self. This doesn't mean you stop caring about others or their opinions. It simply means that you stop allowing their expectations to dictate how you live your life. You get to choose what's best for you, and that is the essence of living authentically. You are the author of your own story. Overcoming the fear of judgment. The fear of judgment is another obstacle that keeps us from living authentically. We fear being criticized, misunderstood, or rejected for being who we truly are. But the reality is, no matter how hard we try, there will always be people who don't understand or accept us. The key is to realize that their judgment doesn't define us, it defines them. When you stop seeking validation from others, you free yourself from the need to conform. You can live with confidence, knowing that you are true to yourself. Remember, authenticity is not about being liked by everyone. It's about being at peace with who you are, regardless of others' opinions. The joy of authenticity. Living authentically brings a deep sense of joy and fulfillment. When you are true to yourself, you experience a sense of alignment with your inner purpose and values. You no longer feel disconnected or lost. You feel at home in your own skin, confident in the knowledge that you are living your truth. Authenticity also brings freedom. You no longer have to hide behind a facade or pretend to be something you're not. You can embrace your quirks, your uniqueness, and your imperfections with pride. When you live authentically, you free yourself from the chains of societal expectations and judgments, and you embrace the limitless potential that lies within you. The practice of living authentically. Living authentically is an ongoing practice. It's a daily commitment to showing up as your true self, regardless of the circumstances. Start by checking in with yourself regularly. Am I living in alignment with my values? Am I honoring my truth? When you feel disconnected from your authentic self, take a step back and reevaluate what you're doing and why you're doing it. Be kind to yourself in the process. There will be times when you falter, when you feel the urge to slip back into old patterns or to conform to external expectations. But remember, living authentically is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about making small choices every day to be true to yourself, to honor your needs, and to align with your inner peace. Embracing your true self. The courage to live authentically is one of the most powerful gifts you can give yourself. When you release the mask, embrace vulnerability, and stop living according to the expectations of others, you begin to experience the freedom and joy that come from being truly yourself. Remember, you are enough, just as you are. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to meet any external standard to be worthy of love and respect. The moment you embrace your true self, you will find that everything you've been searching for, peace, joy, fulfillment, is already within you. Living authentically is not only a path to freedom, it is the path to your highest self. The power of non-resistance. The struggle against life. Every day, life presents us with challenges, some small, some monumental. Our natural instinct is often to fight back, to resist the discomfort, the change, the uncertainty. We spend so much of our time trying to change things, force outcomes, and battle against forces beyond our control. We resist what we don't want, and in doing so, we create more struggle for ourselves. The problem with resistance is that it leads to more suffering. The more we resist, the more we find ourselves locked in an endless battle with life. This is the paradox. The more we try to control or fight life, the more it controls us. What if the key to peace, joy, and freedom doesn't lie in fighting the world, but in learning to flow with it? What if the secret is to embrace life as it is, to accept the ups and downs, the victories and defeats, and to surrender to the natural flow of existence? This is the power of non-resistance, the ability to flow with life rather than struggle against it. What is non-resistance? Non-resistance is the practice of allowing life to unfold as it is, without unnecessary interference. It does not mean passivity or indifference. Rather, it is an active choice to accept the present moment without judgment, to let go of the need to control, and to trust in the unfolding of life's journey. Non-resistance is not about avoiding difficulties or denying the reality of challenging situations. It is about acknowledging those challenges and then choosing not to fight them. When we resist, we give energy to the very thing we are trying to avoid. Resistance creates friction, and friction creates suffering. When we choose non-resistance, we release that friction and allow life to flow with ease. The role of acceptance. At the heart of non-resistance is acceptance. Acceptance is not about liking everything that happens to us, but rather, it's about acknowledging that life is unfolding in its own way, regardless of our preferences. When we resist something, we are essentially saying, "This shouldn't be happening," or "I don't like this." But resistance keeps us stuck in the past, wishing for things to be different, rather than accepting things as they are. Acceptance is about making peace with the present moment. It is about recognizing that, although we may not have control over every situation, we can always choose how we respond to it. By accepting what is, we free ourselves from the emotional burden of resistance. We stop fighting with life, and instead, we find a sense of calm and clarity within it. The benefits of non-resistance. Non-resistance offers numerous benefits, both emotional and physical. When we stop fighting life, we experience less stress and anxiety. Resistance drains our energy. It keeps us stuck in frustration, fear, and anger. But when we practice non-resistance, we conserve our energy and allow ourselves to respond to challenges with calmness and clarity. Non-resistance also helps us build resilience. Life will always present us with challenges, but when we resist, we waste energy fighting what cannot be changed. By embracing non-resistance, we are better able to flow with life's challenges, adapting and learning from them rather than resisting or resenting them. When we let go of the need to control, we open ourselves to more ease, peace, and freedom. Non-resistance allows us to become more flexible and adaptable, which makes it easier to handle difficult situations with grace and strength. Surrendering to life. The practice of non-resistance involves surrendering to life. Surrender does not mean giving up, it means giving in to the flow of life. It's about letting go of the need to fight or control everything and trusting that life has its own wisdom. The more we try to control outcomes, the more we set ourselves up for disappointment. But when we surrender, we release our attachment to specific outcomes and we allow life to unfold in its own way. Think of a river. The river flows naturally, moving around obstacles and finding its way through the land. The river does not resist the rocks or the bends in its path. It simply flows. It surrenders to the terrain, trusting that it will find its way. In the same way, when we surrender to life, we trust that the path will unfold as it should, and we stop fighting against the natural flow. The power of letting go. One of the key aspects of non-resistance is learning how to let go of our fears, our desires, our attachments, and our need for control. When we resist, we hold on tightly to what we think we want or need. We try to force life to bend to our will, but in doing so, we create unnecessary suffering. Letting go means releasing the need to control the future, to force things to go a certain way, or to cling to the past. Letting go creates space for new opportunities, growth, and peace. It is in letting go that we make room for life to unfold with ease. Think of a clenched fist. When your hand is tightly closed, nothing can enter. But when you open your hand, you allow things to flow freely in and out. Letting go is like opening your hand to life. It allows the universe to bring you what you need, without resistance or struggle. Non-resistance in action. Non-resistance is not about being passive, it is an active practice. To practice non-resistance, start by becoming more aware of when you are resisting. Notice the moments when you feel frustrated, angry, or anxious. These are often signs that you are resisting the present moment or trying to control something that is beyond your control. Once you recognize resistance, take a step back and ask yourself, what am I resisting? What would it look like to accept this moment as it is? Allow yourself to release the struggle, even if just for a moment. Breathe deeply and let go of the need to control. Trust that life is unfolding as it should. This practice can be applied to many areas of life. Whether you are dealing with a challenging situation at work, a difficult relationship, or personal setbacks, non-resistance allows you to approach the situation with more peace and clarity. Instead of resisting the situation, you approach it with acceptance, understanding, and a willingness to flow with it. The freedom that comes with non-resistance. The ultimate freedom that comes with non-resistance is peace of mind. When we stop fighting with life, we stop exhausting ourselves emotionally, mentally, and physically. We stop trying to force outcomes and allow ourselves to experience the present moment without judgment or struggle. Non-resistance is not about being passive or giving up. It is about living in harmony with the natural flow of life. When we stop resisting, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress and tension. We learn to trust that everything, even the challenges, is part of the unfolding journey, and that life has its own wisdom. The joy of surrender. There is a profound joy in surrendering to life. When we let go of our need to control and embrace the present moment, we experience life more fully. We become more open to new experiences, more adaptable to change, and more connected to the flow of life. Surrender is not a sign of weakness. It is an expression of strength. It is the strength to trust in life, to trust that everything is unfolding as it should. When we surrender, we experience peace because we stop fighting and start flowing, embracing the flow of life. The power of non-resistance lies in our ability to flow with life rather than against it. When we stop fighting, we allow life to unfold naturally with ease and grace. We stop exhausting ourselves with the need to control and instead trust in the wisdom of the present moment. Non-resistance does not mean passivity. It means actively choosing to embrace life as it is, to accept the present moment, and to release the need to control. When we practice non-resistance, we experience more peace, freedom, and joy in our lives. We let go of the struggle and allow life to unfold in its own perfect way. The path of inner peace. The search for peace. In our modern world, peace often seems like a distant ideal. We are constantly bombarded by distractions, stresses, and external pressures that seem to pull us in 1,000 different directions. From the demands of work, family, and relationships, to the noise of the media and the chaos of the world, it can feel impossible to find true inner peace. We search for peace in external circumstances, hoping that when things calm down, when we achieve our goals, or when life becomes perfect, we will finally feel at peace. However, this external search often leads us to a dead end. True peace is not found outside of ourselves. It is not something that can be acquired, achieved, or controlled. True peace is a state of being, a way of living in harmony with the present moment. Buddhism teaches us that inner peace is a path, not a destination. It is something we cultivate through practice, awareness, and acceptance. It requires us to shift our focus from external circumstances to the peace that resides within us at all times. The illusion of external peace. We live in a culture that is obsessed with external achievements. We are taught to focus on doing rather than being. We chase after success, possessions, and recognition, believing that these will bring us happiness and peace. But the truth is, no amount of external achievement will ever bring lasting peace. The pursuit of external peace is an endless cycle because circumstances are always changing. External circumstances, such as wealth, status, or relationships, can bring temporary happiness, but they are not the source of lasting peace. External peace is fleeting, and relying on it to create a sense of inner calm is a losing battle. Even when we achieve what we think will bring us peace, it is often short-lived, and we find ourselves looking for the next thing to fill the void. True peace comes from within, not from what we have or achieve. It comes from our ability to be fully present, to accept the present moment, and to find stillness amidst the chaos. Inner peace is the peace that remains with us, regardless of external circumstances. It is the calm center that we can always return to, no matter what life throws our way. The power of mindfulness. The practice of mindfulness is a cornerstone of inner peace. Mindfulness is the ability to bring your full attention to the present moment, to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, and to engage with life as it unfolds. It is about being fully awake to your own experience, without getting lost in the past or the future. When we practice mindfulness, we cultivate a deep sense of awareness and presence. We stop chasing after the future, and we stop clinging to the past. Instead, we learn to be fully present in each moment, no matter what it brings. This presence allows us to experience life more fully and to find peace in the simplicity of being. Mindfulness also helps us cultivate non-judgmental awareness. Often, our minds are filled with judgments, critiques, and comparisons. We judge ourselves, others, and the situations we find ourselves in. But when we let go of judgment, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of evaluation and criticism. We allow ourselves to experience life as it is, without trying to make it fit into preconceived ideas of how it should be. Through mindfulness, we learn to accept ourselves and the world around us. We stop fighting with what is, and instead embrace it with compassion, curiosity, and openness. This acceptance is the foundation of inner peace. The role of acceptance in peace. Acceptance is a key element of inner peace. To accept something means to acknowledge it without resistance, to recognize that it is part of the present moment, and to allow it to be as it is. Acceptance is not about liking or approving of everything that happens. It is about recognizing that things are as they are. Resistance to life's challenges creates suffering. When we resist what is happening, we create tension within ourselves. We feel frustrated, angry, or anxious because we want things to be different. But in doing so, we push ourselves further away from peace. Acceptance is the antidote to resistance. When we accept life as it is, we free ourselves from the struggle. We stop fighting with reality, and instead, we begin to work with it. This doesn't mean we passively accept everything that happens without action. It means that we accept the situation as it is, and then we choose how to respond in a way that aligns with our values and brings us peace. Acceptance is also about accepting ourselves. It is about embracing our imperfections, our mistakes, and our flaws. When we stop fighting with ourselves and begin to accept who we are, we create space for growth, healing, and peace. The importance of letting go. Letting go is another essential practice on the path to inner peace. We often hold on to things, whether it's a past trauma, a negative belief, or an unhealthy attachment, because we believe that holding on will somehow protect us. But in truth, holding on only keeps us stuck in the past, preventing us from moving forward. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or ignoring our past experiences. It means releasing the emotional charge and the attachment we have to those experiences. It means accepting that we cannot change the past, but we can choose how we respond to it. When we let go, we free ourselves from the emotional burden that keeps us trapped in suffering. Letting go is also about releasing the need to control the future. We often worry about what might happen, trying to anticipate every possible outcome and prepare for it. But the future is always uncertain, and the more we try to control it, the more anxious and overwhelmed we become. When we let go of our need to control the future, we free ourselves to experience life with greater ease and trust. The practice of peace. Peace is not something that can be achieved through force or striving. It is something that we cultivate through practice. The practice of peace is about choosing to be present, to accept what is, and to let go of resistance. The more we practice peace, the more we embody it. We can practice peace in small ways every day, by taking a few moments to breathe deeply and center ourselves, by choosing to respond with calmness in challenging situations, and by letting go of judgments and expectations. Every act of mindfulness, acceptance, and letting go is a step toward inner peace. Peace also requires patience. The path to inner peace is not a quick fix. It's a lifelong practice of returning to the present moment, of accepting what is, and of letting go of the things that no longer serve us. But with each step, we move closer to the stillness and calm that reside within us. The flow of life. Life is always in motion. It flows, it changes, and it evolves. We can either resist that flow, trying to control everything, or we can surrender to it, allowing life to unfold as it is meant to. The flow of life is the flow of peace. When we let go of our resistance, we begin to flow with life instead of against it. When we learn to flow with life, we discover that peace is always available to us. It is not something that we have to chase or strive for. It is a natural state that we can access at any moment. We simply have to stop resisting and allow ourselves to be part of the flow. Finding peace within. The path to inner peace is a journey, not a destination. It requires us to release our attachments, accept what is, and practice mindfulness and letting go. It requires patience, trust, and the courage to face life as it is, without resistance. When we choose peace, we choose to embrace life in its fullness. We stop fighting, stop striving, and start living in alignment with the present moment. In that moment of alignment, we find the peace that has always been within us. So, take a deep breath, let go of the need to control, and trust that peace is already here. It's not something you need to search for or achieve. It's something you already possess, waiting to be embraced. The path of inner peace is a journey of self-discovery, surrender, and acceptance. And with each step, you move closer to the peace that is your birthright.